It's go time on this Friday. Go in terms of talking Michigan. And we are pleased to bring back to the show the one and only Jerry Diorio. There he is. He's on the podcast. He is on the video, and he's ready to talk some Michigan football. Jerry, it's great to see you. How are you?
Froze up there, Denny.
Let's try it again because I know what you were going to say.
We're ready
for it. How are you?
I'm doing great, Denny. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine.
That's what I was expecting you to say, and we're happy to have you on here to talk a little bit about Michigan football. But, Jerry, a little bit of a surprise for you. Not just Michigan football. We're going to talk a little Michigan basketball as well. We are going to ask everyone out there how good you think Michigan will be next year. You can always join us and put your message in, get your thoughts in there. We have Jerry, who's an expert. I'll give my thoughts, but it's always nice to see where Michigan football fans are at. The basketball team has 3 games guaranteed left, including Sunday up in East Lansing. We'll lay out their prospects. And then we'll start talking about Michigan's defense. And, Jerry, the first thing before we talk about this Michigan defense, let's remind everyone why we are here. We're here with the Maize and Blue Review, and that is part of MichiganRivals.com. And we urge you to join the Maize and Blue Review. Recruiting, spring football features. If you can't get enough, you got to ask yourself, am I getting enough Michigan football? Am I getting enough Michigan basketball? Am I getting enough Michigan? And if you can answer yes, well, you sleep good at night. That's good. But if the answer is, I want more Michigan, well, this is the answer for you. The Maize and Blue Review. You can get instant access today, right now, immediate access. Go to Michigan.rivals.com to get it done. All right, Jerry, when you think about Michigan and their defense and the challenges or how good they might be, what are some of the things that are top of mind for you?
Well, the first thing I'm looking at, Denny, is what are we really losing on the defensive side? And I'm also thinking about where we were at the end of the season last year on our defense. So you look at the losses. You've got Makari Page. You've got the 2 first-round draft choices in the gut. And you got Will Johnson and Josiah Stewart. Now, Will Johnson, for all intents and purposes, Will didn't play that much this year. And I think our DBs got much better as the year went by and really performed outstanding against Ohio and Alabama. So, Will Johnson, yeah, he's a loss in the sense that he's gone, but I didn't really think he played that much last year. He was hurt he had a lot of injuries. Great career at Michigan. God bless him. Go make a tremendous career out of your NFL days, but I think we're going to be all right in the secondary. Josiah Stewart is a big loss. I thought he was one of the better players on our defense last year and over the last couple years. But I think when you look at the replacements, you got Moore, you got TJ Guy, you got Brandt. There's 3 solid players in there at that rotation at the edge. And then you start mentioning Nichols and some of the freshmen like Marshall. I think we're going to be a very good edge team. A lot of people have us down as a 3 interior defensive line front. I think our best one is going to be 4. I think that's I could see Wink settling in on that because I think we did a tremendous job with 4 down line or 4 down, 2 including 2 edges and 2 down linemen instead of the 5. I like the 4, and we were getting pressure on the quarterback with just 4 at the end of the year. Michigan's defense, and then you have the 2 interiors, Graham and Grant. You don't replace those. Replace those. What we can do to get close to that production is get more rotation in those positions. And so when I look at our depth chart, I'm looking at Payne coming in from Alabama. I think it's a good pickup. I think Damon Payne is a good pickup. He's coming home. That might be a better situation for him. I think he's going to be fine. He's going to contribute. I honestly believe he's going to contribute. You got Pierce. You got Benny. So those are three good ones right there. Then you add in the transfer from Clemson, Trey Williams. Trey is a personality, and I think he's going to fit in well in that rotation. So I think our defensive line, our interior 2 or 3, whatever we end up going with, I think we're going to be pretty good. Will we be as good as last year and the year before? That's going to be a hard thing to do. But I think we have the depth that we might be able to get a lot of production out of those 2 positions or those 3 positions and make us a solid defense. Like I said about Josiah Stewart, big loss there, great pass rusher, but I think we've got some replacements there for him. And, Makari Page, we pick up this Metcalf, this TJ Metcalf from Arkansas. And then we got Rod Moore coming back in this year. I think we're good there. And so I think our replacements are going to be very, very solid for what we're losing on defense. With that said, last year I thought at the beginning of the season, and I should have realized this. I should have known this when I looked at it, but our coaching staff was not familiar with our players. Our players were not familiar with our coaching staff. It took us a good 4, 5, 6 weeks to really get in a solid rhythm on defense. By the last, if you exclude Oregon and some of the stupid mistakes we made, I think our defense was playing as well as we've played in the last couple of years at the end of the season last year. When you include Alabama, Ohio, Indiana, Northwestern, our defense was very, very solid last year, and I got a feeling we're going to pick up right where we left off. And with that said, our coaching staff and our players are now very familiar with each other on the defensive side. I'm looking for a huge defensive season this year from Michigan.
Yeah, I like where you're at. I don't know about those newcomers, and there'll be some that'll hit and maybe some that won't. But I think, to me, I would be more worried and I'm just unsure about Michigan's defense if I didn't see how they performed in the bowl game. How they looked in the bowl game, they didn't have the gifts from the football gods in there. And they didn't have Will Johnson. And the majority of those guys that were there, now they had Amir Hall, who's not going to be back at one of the corners, but the majority of that defense that played in the bowl game that looked so good is all coming back, along with Wink. And we know that now, and we were a little bit not sure about his status. And to your point, having some continuity with the coaches on defense, with your defensive coordinator, that'll be good. And, you could talk about the guys. It's tough to replace 3 first-rounders, but your point was good about Will Johnson. I mean, they mostly had to do that, especially in the back half of the season, without him. And then some of the guys that you think about that could jump forward. Rayshawn Benny's, I think, solid in there as a returner. Jayshawn Barham and Ernest Hausman. There's a lot of linebackers in there, from Rolder to Hausman to Barham. I know, however they end up moving them out to edge. Those are guys that have played, we have seen, and they look like good football players. And I think you mentioned Nichols. Those freshmen from last year and Cole Sullivan, we know that they're high on guys like that. How much playmaking ability that they bring to the table, we'll see. But as much as we talk about a player like Bryce Underwood as a true freshman contributing to this team, on the defensive side, Jerry, we have a few different players that you could think about, even the ones that are in for spring. And I think when you come in for spring, you're a player that's saying, I plan on playing this fall. And right from the top, you've got a linebacker in the NOB. Maybe you can find a spot for him on the field. And are any of these other guys that you look at and you say, I think that just from what you know and what you hear, that they will be at least guys that could push for playing time at some
Well,
point?
here's the deal, Denny. I didn't mention the linebackers, but and maybe it was subconsciously about it, but I think that could be the strength of our team next year. Those interior linemen, linebackers, Rolder, Barnum, Houseman. You're talking about tremendous amount of experience and connectivity. I mean, these three have played together now for at least a year, and Newhouse and Roller have been together for a long time. So that linebacker crew is very strong, very deep. And now you add Nathaniel Owusu-Butnick, you add him to that mix, and you got Sullivan still in there. I mean, that's a pretty deep bunch right there. And don't forget Bowles and Hood. And I'm not even talking about Hewlett. Hewlett might be one of the best athletes to come out of Youngstown in a long, long time.
Whoa!
And we haven't even talked about it.
Out of Youngstown. And Jerry, where are you from?
Youngstown, Ohio, Denny.
I know you like Hewlett, and I like him too. I hear you on that. So I'm with you. Let's see. We had somebody, Mr. Martini. This really wasn't a report. You had Wink talk this week on a podcast. So if he mentioned that Barham wouldn't be exclusively, that's why I said they might move him around a little bit. That was just listening to the podcast. But, hey, that could be a report if you want to say that was a report. So, yeah, I think that they lose these stellar big-time first-round picks, but they had not a good recruiting class, a great recruiting class. And they have brought guys in on the defensive side of the ball, also in the transfer portal, where I think you expect a hit or two. We've just gone through them. I think they can be solid. And I think this is a team that when you look at them on that side of the ball, it's one of those where, to me, I don't think it's going to be the defense that we're sitting here at the end saying, oh, that's what cost Michigan a chance to get into the college football playoff. And that's what we're getting to with this second question. And I'll throw it over to you, Jerry. Michigan fans asking you, hey, how good do you think they're going to be next year? And to me, the question is, do you think they're going to make the playoffs? And Jerry, how good do you think Michigan's going to be next year? Do you think they're going to make the playoffs?
I think our defense is going to be one of the best squads in the country next year. I think we are very solid on defense coming in this year, and I think we're going to be a very good team. I mean, there's a couple, 3 games that we definitely are going to look at. I think our schedule is favorable for us, and if we can get through that first quarter of the season, that first third of the season, get a victory against Oklahoma and Wisconsin and Nebraska in that bye situation, I think by then we could have a real solid. If we're in good shape at that point in time, I think we could have a real solid rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here on March the 7th guaranteeing that Michigan's going to make the college football playoff. And I think what you say about that first quarter of the season, I don't think the season hinges on, and even the playoffs hinge on Bryce Underwood, but it's a really big deal. A lot of other teams, and when you think about just playing a guy immediately that's just going to turn 18 and having him out there, whether it's sooner or later, I mean, he is going to be out there. It's not a sure thing, but I think for Michigan, how it could be a little bit different than from some other teams. Michigan is not totally, and especially right out of the box, going to be dependent on just if Bryce Underwood's ready to fly or not. Michigan is still going to be, and some people don't like to hear this, but other people are like, yeah, that's right. They're going to be a run-dominated team. They're going to try to smash you. They're going to try to protect their quarterback, and they're going to try to play to their defense. And, their special weapon that they have in Zavada as a field goal kicker. I don't know if you necessarily play to your field goal kicker, but it's a nice, ace in a hole to have. And so, I don't know, do you agree, Jerry, that this is going to be a continuation of smash with Chip Lindsey who comes in?
Well, before I get to that point, Denny, let me say something about Zapata. And when you say that your offense doesn't gear towards getting a field goal, but your defense has got that in the back of your mind. You can't let this team cross the 40 or it's a guaranteed 3 points. And so that's where defenses are going to be in a bad position against Michigan's offense. They're not going to be able to give up much because we do have that kicking game, and that kicking game can scare some people. What was the other question, Denny? We were talking about getting back with the youth.
Are they going to run Are they going to run it? Are they going to run it?
I think that is going to. I think that's going to be very important, especially with new quarterbacks. We're going to have a new quarterback going into that first game. Even if Davis Warren, everything goes well with him, his injury is going to sideline him for a while. So I think we're going to have a new quarterback in that first game. Our run game has got to be strong next year. A good run game is always a quarterback's best friend. And when I look at that offensive line, I'm looking at 3 solid starters that are coming back. Another young man who started one of the top transfer portal players out there, the offensive lineman. And Sprague is just a man. He is a big individual. He really impressed me against Alabama. I was very impressed with the way Sprague played against Alabama.
Yeah, Mr. Martini.
I'm over the 8.5. I'm over 8.5.
Yeah, to me, that number should be 9.5. I think for Michigan, if we were sitting here today and you said that Michigan had a 9-win season, and the difference between a 9-win season and a 10-win season is probably a bid to the college football playoff. So 9 wins, it can be fine. I'm not saying that, what a terrible year or anything else. I'm not predicting or wanting a 9-win season. You could say, hey, that's not bad, and that's fine. But I think this team, even with everything, with the freshman, probably true freshman quarterback at some point, the goal is still, with what they have here, is making the college football playoff. So 9 would be a little bit, at least on March the 7th, would be a disappointment. I do think when it comes to fans and their expectations for Bryce Underwood, they're expecting. I think most are just expecting this guy to fly and be the number 1 player in the country almost immediately or whenever they play him. And I don't know if he's going to get a lot better after this year. So the part about running the ball and playing to the defense, he's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be twice as good as he was or is next year than he is this year, but he's going to be a lot better. And then who knows when you're starting to talk about having a guy in his 3rd year. But I think it's the one thing that they're looking at, saying, we got the greatest guy in the world. And, he's going to like he could, there's a chance of that. But thinking that he's going to light the world on fire right off the bat, and even in his first year, I'm not telling anybody to tamp down their expectations or anything, but you just realize that that's almost never the case, ever. And there's always exceptions, but for the most part, and that's what I think a lot of people are banking on. He'll be the exception. He's going to be that 1 or 2% of freshman QBs that go out there and just wow you immediately, or certainly sooner than later. And that's the one thing that
Denny, what I think Lindsey's going to bring into this program is a more comprehensive a run game. I think we're going to have more options as a run team. We tend to like that pin and pull, and we like the inside zone. I think we're going to add more to our repertoire on offense with Lindsey as the coordinator. I think where he's going to open up, And when I say open it up, I'm not saying open it up and just throwing the ball over the place. I think we needed to open up the run game a lot more last year. I thought that we were very predictable in the run game. And I think Lindsey's going to come in and he's going to be able to do some things with formations and not give defenses an opportunity to just load up on a play because we're in a certain formation or certain personnel.
Yep, there are the questions that we went through, and you always it's good to have the questions as we turn our attention to basketball. And Ferris has put a message in. It was the first one that came into the show today, and he says he's sad about Michigan basketball, and he does think they're going to lose to Michigan State. But he puts a question, who knows? He said the biggest games for Michigan are in front of them. Jerry, that part is true. They have, I mean, this is the time. It is go time in basketball. There's a lot of people. There will be more people that drop in and watch basketball from this point, Michigan included, Michigan basketball fans, from this point to the end than the entire season. And so this is where you really define yourself. So you have to be able to put it in perspective. And how are you looking at things right now when it comes down to Michigan basketball?
Well, you know, we've been talking about the same thing all year this year with Michigan basketball. Turnovers and not protecting the defensive backboard. We're giving up way too many offensive rebounds besides the turnovers. So those are two bad points. With that said, our team seems to be a better team on the road than it does at home. And so now all of a sudden we're going to state and we got a tournament behind that. Let's see if we the guards. Our guard play has got to be better. We've got to protect the ball a lot more, and that means if that means putting the ball in the guard's hands a little bit more than we should. But we're turning the ball over too much. We're giving up way too many offensive rebounds. And if we can address that, I think we're a good basketball team, and we can play with anybody in the country.
Sorry, Jerry, I cut off there. What I think is going to happen is that it's going to be a rough Sunday. I think it's going to be a disappointing trip to Indianapolis. And then I think that it's going to be a quick experience in the NCAA tournament. And so these next 3 weeks, I think for a lot of people, they might find it bitterly disappointing. And it for 3 weeks, it's going to be a disappointment. But then I think once you are able to put the season into the rearview mirror, you're able to look back and say, it wasn't too bad. They exceeded expectations. They did a nice job by getting into the tournament. They put themselves the people don't like to hear this. I don't even like to say it, but if you play the game where if we were talking before the season and I said, Jerry, if Michigan State, they were losing, they were down 13, they were down 10, they were down 7 at the half before they put their 19-2 run on. If they don't win that game, Michigan is playing for a piece on the final game. So you could say they were in contention for the Big Ten championship. And if you said that before the season, you'd say, give me that all day long. You kidding me? I'll take it. But I think these next 3 weeks are not going to be fun for people. I doubt that they're going to get any wins. I look at them as a bonus if they get any wins, whether it's Sunday, whether it's in the Big Ten tournament, 1 or 2, whatever it would be, that would all be bonus. And then the same thing of the NCAA tournament. So I have, and I think you did a good job. I'll give you some whys, but I think Jerry, and you cut out for a second, but I think you almost went down my exact list of why not for them that they're going to have success over these next couple of weeks. You started with the guards and the turnovers. I'm with you on that. And you mentioned the rebounding. And then I would add the free throws. That might have been one.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes. We for as good a team as we should be shooting the ball, our free throw, it blows your mind.
And, the part that is both why and why not, is 3-point shooting. The 3-point shooting has really gone down. They have not been able to hit it over this past month, where earlier in the season and even in the midpoint of the season, they were doing a decent job from downtown, but not so much lately. And that's where you turn your attention to why. I think every team could say, yeah, if we get hot from downtown, and it's true in basketball. And that's what Danny Wolf was saying after the loss to Maryland on Wednesday. If they start going in, he basically was saying, watch out. So that is a why. And so that you can say, well, whether or not you feel like they're capable, if they're worn down and tired after Sunday, they get, all week essentially to rest. If they lose the one game, like a lot of people expect them, then they get a whole other week, one game and essentially 2 weeks. They should be rested, whether they play on that Thursday or Friday of the NCAA tournament. So if that's one of the things, I'm not really buying that myself, but a lot of people feel like they are worn down, and that's they're putting that into why that they I don't want to call it a collapse. They just lost those 2 games, but I think the other part about this is that they don't have any pressure. I think Michigan fans understand that if you're expecting this team to make a run to the Final Four, you're going to start trashing them. Like, you could do that for a minute, but for the most part, most fans understand that they've maxed out, and they just don't have the personnel that you need in March with the guard play to really excel. So sometimes when you don't have any pressure and you don't have any expectations and you have the coaching, you can win. And I'll say this, Jerry, I know I'm going on and on and on, but if they get into the NCAA tournament and they're playing some of these mid-majors, the mid-majors, they deserve to be there, and it's great. And a lot of times there'll be a lot of people that are picking against Michigan to be a first-round upset. But Michigan's got 2 7-footers. You get and start playing against some of these mid-majors who are going 6'8", 6'9". Michigan might have a pretty good matchup, and even the second round. So, I'm not automatically, even though I don't think they're going to win any more games, I'm not automatically, thinking that, they can't do it. Dusty May did take a team to the Final Four just a couple years ago. That was a mid-major. So they've got a unique team. No, you don't like it because they don't have the guards and they turn it over and all that. But I'm not going to call them dangerous, but I'm saying they could be a matchup problem for the team that they draw. And so they could win a couple games in the
basketball. March Madness it's called March Madness for a reason. Teams get hot. They I can remember back in '83 when North Carolina State barely made it into the NCAA and then made the run all the way through because they got hot at the right time. And so, let's see what happens at the end. But at the far and away, great season. Dusty May did a great job getting our program back on people's lips, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, invoking Jimmy Valvano's '83 Wolfpack team, huh? That went through there. I like that.
With some soul. Great coach.
Who was it? They beat.
They beat the Five Jamma Slamma.
Phi Gamma Slamma with Clyde Drexler and Akeem Olajuwon. That was Olajuwon at the end. They threw it up. Wittenberg threw the ball up there, and it was so short that the big man, Charles, was able to grab it and dunk it. They didn't draw that play out. That was a little bit of luck. And then Jimmy V was running around looking for somebody to hug, and everybody was celebrating. He didn't know where he was going. But that was awesome. So, yeah, I'm right with you there. Let's see what the people are saying about basketball, Jerry, in close. Smash says, we, need, a point guard. Periods after all of those. Yeah, guard play. I would say overall guard play. If you want to put Amari Burnett as the third guard, he's done a decent job.
Yeah, he has.
Really, Trey Donaldson hasn't folded, but he has not been that third guy that you're looking for in a big three down the stretch. And then, bless Roddy Gale and the 2 freshmen, but they just aren't ready, as guards. And
the guard play, especially in March, it's so important to be able to break down defenses and set people up and that kind of thing. In my opinion, I think we're going through Wolf way too much. I think we could put him in a position to be more dominant as an offensive scorer if we had a little bit more movement on the point guard position.
Yeah, I would like to see Wolf use his body better than he is. He seems like he's playing like he's 6'5", not 7 feet when he's going to the basket, and he's not completely off balance, but a lot of time he's leaving it short, or he's trying these off balance shots. You're 7 feet tall. Get down there, like the Joker. Come to a stop. Use your height. Do it. Stop 5 feet from the basket. Just shoot over these guys. He could do that, and I also think that he could use that size from 3-point land. I think that he's feeling the pressure that he has to do everything. He has to be the point guard. He has to score, and that's been too much. You went back and talked about the 83 Wolfpack. I think Mr. Martini's talking about Larry Brown's Kansas Jayhawks with Danny and the Miracles in 1988. Larry Brown loved his first words out of his mouth when it came to basketball was that he wanted his team to play the right way. There was always the right way to play. And he did that with the Pistons. He always said it. We got to play the right way. And Mr. Martini's talking about that this team needs to learn how to play the right way. And, that's going to cover it whichever way you want to go. So it's not bad. I just think they're limited with their guard play, and there's not much you can do about that. So
I would like to see Danny Wolf take more people down to the block. I'd like to see him be a little bit more dominant down low and on the block. And let's see their number their number 4 play Danny Wolf. Let's see how he does. So I'd like to see it. Well,
I would like to see a win on Sunday against Michigan State. That would be so nice.
Guards. It's funny, Denny. It's funny. Before the last Michigan State game, we talked about Michigan State didn't have any superstars. They're not throwing up the 3 ball that much, but they're a good team. Welcome. All of a sudden, they play Michigan. They're starting to hit 3-pointers from out of nowhere. And what's his name? Number 5, McDonough. He came out of nowhere. Now all of a sudden he's playing like a
Solomon. Yeah.
He's playing like an All-American. So, guards are important in March.
They got a bunch of them. I was looking at Michigan State turned the ball over, I think 24 times last night. Or maybe not. Now that I'm looking at the numbers, no, they didn't. Somebody forced. Oh, Michigan State forced 25 turnovers. They didn't have 25 turnovers. Big news flash there. But yeah, they're getting Holloman. They've got a 3-guard attack. Akins, who couldn't throw the ball in the ocean, he hit 4 against Wisconsin the other day. So yeah, they're starting to hit their threes, and they're as deep as any team in the country. But maybe they'll have celebrated that outright Big Ten championship or Big Ten championship a little bit too much on Sunday, and Michigan can go in there and steal one. I'd like to see that. I would also really enjoy seeing them. They've earned a double bye, and by earning a double bye, you get the rest, and you're also a win away from the semifinals. You're 2 wins away. That quick, they win 2 games. They're playing in the championship game, which would really be something. Now, look, that would be nice. And then I already talked about the matchups and who and the possibility. I would say that out of all of it, I would like to see them win at least 1 game in the NCAA tournament. So, hey, that's where we're at. Let's see what they're able to do from here. That's it. Jerry, you got any final things that you wanted to say to the people?
Hail to the victors, Denny. Just always good to talk with you and talk with the folks. And it's a great day here in Orlando, Florida.
Hey, enjoy Orlando, Florida, and the sunshine. I want to tell everybody it's great to have you on, Jerry. We'll see everybody over on the Den on the Maize and Blue Review. It's going to be a great weekend with everything that's going on in sports. So join up. so we can continue that conversation over there. Jerry, look forward to continuing our conversation the next time you come on.
Great talking to you, Denny. Hail to the
There he is. There he is, Jerry Diorio.